So chapter 6 is about understanding organizations as customers. From this chapter, I have only taken what I think is very important. The some of just a few concepts that I think are very important for us to understand. Um, so when we say understanding organizations as customers, we are talking about B2B type of businesses, which is business to business, where the customers are different businesses. So a business is selling to another business, which obviously becomes their customer. So we're going to only discuss about a few concepts, and that's it. This is going to be a very small chapter for us to discuss. So the first thing that we need to know is what do we mean by organizational buyers? As we say B2B, what is that second B? So the organizational buyers are those manufacturers or wholesalers or retailers or service companies or not-for-profit organizations or the government agencies that buy products and services for their own use or for resale. Basically, these are any kind of business that you can think of that buys products or services from a different business. So this organizational buyer becomes a client or a customer of the original business that they are buying from. Now we need to understand different organizational markets. We have three types of organizational markets. The first one is industrial markets. These are the markets or the organizations that process the product or service that they buy from another organization, from another business. They process this product or service in some way or the other before selling it to the next buyer. So for example, if you look at these pictures, you see somebody working on the fabric. So they must have bought the fabric from a supplier, from a business, and now they're processing it, they're making some changes to the fabric, and then they're going to sell it to the next buyer in line or the next customer. So any organization that buys a product or service from a business and then processes it or reprocesses it before selling it to the next customer in line is a part of industrial market. Next is reseller markets. These are really the wholesalers and the retailers that buy these products from a business and then resell them again without conducting any kind of reprocessing on those products. So they just buy it from the manufacturers, for example, and then sell it to the customers directly without doing anything to those products. And the third type of market is the government markets, and these are the federal, state, and local agencies that buy goods and services for the constituents they serve. So these can be anything that they use in the office. You see those computers that they are using in there, the keyboards, or whatever kind of products they use in their offices. These are a part of government markets. Next, buying center. Buying center plays an important role in an organizational for an organizational buyer. These are basically participants from the organization, from the business that make these buying decisions. These participants make buying decisions about the products or services that the organization needs to buy, needs to use. So there are different roles that the buying center participants play. The first one that we're going to discuss is the users, and as the name suggests, these are the people who are actually going to use the product or the service that this buying center is going to buy. Next is the gatekeepers, which control the information that all buying center members will review. So these gatekeepers are the ones who basically sort what's going to come inside. They can just reject, and they can say that we don't even want to look at this particular deal. We don't even want to look at this particular organization or seller. And they are the ones that the information has to first cross. The business, the products have to first cross these people in order to meet the other buying center members for review. So these gatekeepers can be as simple as a receptionist, as a participant, as a gatekeeper who does not allow the sellers to pass on, to the other buying center members. The receptionist can say that, no, we don't want your product, we're not interested, and she or he can also act as a gatekeeper. Next is the influencers. These affect the buying decision by supplying information to guide evaluation of alternatives or by setting buying specifications. So these are the people who collect all the information which can be used for evaluation of different alternatives that the buying center has. Next are the deciders, who are the ones who decide whether they're going to choose the good or service. Even though there may be somebody else who has the formal authority to choose the good or service, but these people or buy the good buy the good or service, but these people are the ones who decide which product or service they're going to buy. And then we can have buyers separately who really have the formal authority to select a supplier and to implement the procedures for securing the product or service. Because it's an organization, you just don't go into the market and start buying things. You need to follow certain procedures. So these buyers are the ones who really do that for the organization. Next, and this is the last thing that we're going to discuss in this chapter, are the buying situations. We can have new buy, straight rebuy, or modified rebuy. So a new buy is when an organization is a first-time buyer of the product or service. If they're going to buy a product or service for the first time, it's called a new buy. Straight rebuy is when they reorder a product or service that they already had been using. So if that was the case, they already have a list of acceptable suppliers, so they just need to go in there and reorder the products and services from the acceptable suppliers. So that's called a straight rebuy, where you don't have to do much. You just know the suppliers, you go in there and reorder the product from those guys. The last one is modified rebuy, where basically you want to make some changes in the product specifications, or price or delivery schedule or the supplier, and and then you want to reorder the products or services that you were already using. So you need to make some modifications in the products or services that you were already using, and then buy again from a supplier. So these are the three buying situations. This is the activity number 9 that you guys are going to do. Basically, what you're supposed to do is, in your book, you're supposed to go to this chapter number 6, which is about organizational buying, understanding organizational buying, and check this video case number 6 in your book, which is, you'll probably see this picture over there. You need to read that case, and you'll find this case at the end of the chapter. You read the case and answer the questions that are given in the book, that are at the end of the case, and submit this. And we're done with this chapter.